Thank you for the introduction. In this presentation, I would like to share the treatment of a preparatory drawing for a painting by Johann Heinrich Roos, which took an exciting turn. Roos was a German landscape painter who often created idealized landscapes with depictions of cattle and shepherds. The drawing from around 1676 is titled Landscape with Ruin of the Temple of Vespasian. It features a herd of cows, sheep and goats with their shepherds resting in the shadow of an ancient temple ruin. The drawing is executed on a verso paper in iron gall ink over black chalk with brown and gray washes. In connection with this preparatory drawing, two paintings by Roos are known, one of which is in the Minneapolis Institute of Art in the USA, seen here on the right. If we compare the drawing with the painting, we can see some slight differences in the design. For example, the execution of the trees in the upper right corner, as you can see here. This gives an indication that it's actually a preparatory drawing and not a drawing after the painting. Several inscriptions on the drawing further support this point, giving clues to the intended color scheme of the painting. In these two examples, the upper one reads dunkel, which means dark in German. If we go back to the painting, we can also see this nicely implemented as the sheep is executed in a dark shade in the background. To illuminate the conservation concept, I would like to explain briefly the layered structure of the drawing in its before treatment state. The drawing was mounted overall with a starch-based adhesive onto a verso paper. This support paper was probably attached by a collector and was adhered quite unevenly. The inscriptions on the lower border of this mounting paper, which includes enumeration, indicates that the drawing belonged to a larger collection context, perhaps even an album. At a later date, probably in the mid or late 20th century, the mounted drawing was adhered overall to another support, which was a gray board made from recycled material. The polyvinyl acetate-based adhesive that was used for this attachment was first applied generously to the cardboard, and the drawing was stuck down using pressure. The treatment plan was to remove the gray board and the thick PVAC adhesive layer. The purpose of removing these two components was to eliminate these materials unsuitable for the long-term preservation of the drawing and to improve its aesthetic experience by removing the stiffening cardboard. The treatment started with the manual separation of as much of the cardboard as safely possible. Most of the cardboard could be removed by splitting it within the uppermost layers using a knife-like flat spatula. This work required a high degree of concentration and was performed in extreme raking light for close visual control. The cardboard remaining on the verso of the mounting paper was peeled off. The remaining adhering fibers were removed by moistening them, gathering them in small bundles and picking them up with tweezers. For the removal of the now exposed adhesive layer, acetone was used as a solvent selected during previous tests on samples. Working under a fume extraction hood, small amounts of solvent were applied to swell the adhesive, which could then be gradually gathered and removed with a spatula. Remnants were picked up with a cotton swab, lightly moistened in acetone. With the board gone and only the mounting paper remaining, a first observation of the drawing in transmitted light was possible. We expected to see the mold structure and possibly watermarks of the two papers, but this examination led to a far more exciting, unexpected discovery. In transmitted light, the contours of a second drawing became visible on the verso of the first drawing. After consulting with the owner of the drawing and weighing treatment risks, tests were conducted to find a way to separate the mounting paper from the drawing. Since the adhesive was starch-based and swellable with moderate amounts of moisture, the following method, removal method, proved to be safe for separating the two papers. First, working from the verso of the mounting paper, an area was slightly moistened through a Gore-Tex membrane. This was followed by further local moistening of the immediate treatment area using a small piece of cotton wool. The moisture was allowed to dwell for a brief moment while the area was slightly warmed from above with the help of a pocket warmer. Following this, the historical mounting paper could be lifted off the drawing with a narrow, flat spatula. This procedure allowed the mounting paper to be detached from the drawing in small steps, exposing the previously hidden drawing. And here's one of the most exciting moments of my work. The first corner is lifted and exposes the first details of the second drawing. It became evident that this drawing contains far more detail than previously discernible in transmitted light. The drawing was revealed unharmed with minimal impact. Only a few particles of the drawing media that had detached during previous adhesive failure and were deeply embedded in the adhesive remained on the mounting paper. And here you can see the uncovered verso drawing after its successful separation from the mounting paper. In addition to the anticipated iron gall ink drawing, previously indiscernible architectural elements drawn in red chalk were uncovered. The verso drawing also shows a pastoral scene with shepherds and cattle resting among ancient ruins. Just like the recto, this drawing also features notes for its translation into a painting. Indeed, it was found to be a preparatory drawing for another painting by Johann Heinrich Roos, which you can see here. It is titled Shepherds and Flocks Among Ruins, dates from 1681 and belongs to the Gemäldegalerie Alte Meister, or Old Meister's picture gallery in Dresden. As final preservation measures, minor repairs were carried out on the double-sided drawing and the mounting paper. This included tear repair and filling of small losses, some of which received minor retouching. Also, significant distortions of the paper were diminished by weighing in a stack. All signs of historical use of the double-sided drawing, including the folding marks, paint drips, and oil stains, are considered a vivid testimony of the working methods of the prolific pastoral painter Roos and the history of the drawing. The owner wished the drawing to be mounted for double-sided framing. Therefore, the drawing was attached with Japanese paper in a strip inlay and mounted in a double-sided window mat. Here you can see the mounted drawing from recto and verso. The historical support paper was mounted with a slot inlay in another window mat that will be preserved in a separate housing and can thus be presented alongside the double-sided drawing. As far as is known, these are the only two surviving preparatory drawings of Johann Heinrich Roos, which makes the discovery all the more significant. The second drawing on the verso also testifies to the fact that at least occasionally Roos handled his paper's resources quite economically, using both sides of one sheet for the preparation of two different paintings. Now that they are prepared for their long-term preservation, the two drawings will hopefully find use as interesting objects of study and give their owner as much delight as I had working on them. Thank you very much for your attention, and I would like to sincerely thank the people on this slide. Thank you.